Last month, one of the world's largest DNA testing companies experienced a massive data breach. But it wasn't the credit card numbers the hackers were after. They were searching for something far more valuable, a classified genetic pattern that had been deliberately hidden from public view. According to internal documents leaked by the hackers, the company had identified something extraordinary, a unique genetic sequence appearing in every billionaire family tested. Within hours of this discovery, a classified government order arrived demanding immediate removal of these markers and threatening severe consequences if this information ever went public. But before the data could be scrubbed, 3 research scientists made a breakthrough that changes everything we know about genetic wealth inheritance. Because this wealth sequence isn't just limited to billionaire bloodlines, it's actually dormant inside your DNA right now. Hey, it's Dr. Jonathan Sterling here, and inside this presentation that rich, powerful families and even the Vatican would strongly prefer you not to watch. I'm going to reveal a shocking 7-second ancestral wealth activation method I accidentally discovered beneath Jerusalem's Western Wall. That instantly unlocks dormant prosperity genes hiding in your bloodline, and that any man or woman can start using tonight while they sleep, to finally break free from financial struggles and access the incredible wealth that is yours by birthright. This is especially important if you or anyone you know has taken a DNA test in the last 10 years. And I'll show you exactly why in just a moment. Because this method has nothing to do with manifestation techniques, investment strategies, or even the law of attraction. Instead, it's about removing genetic wealth blocks that were deliberately placed in your DNA to keep you trapped. A secret billionaire families have been using for generations to stay rich. And while I know those are some pretty extraordinary claims, I feel completely confident making them. Because not only did this ancestral wealth activation method work for me, helping me go from bankruptcy to a life beyond my wildest dreams, but this same simple activation technique has now been used by more than everyday people around the world. Folks who were struggling paycheck to paycheck their entire lives, and who suddenly found money, opportunities, and abundance flowing to them effortlessly after just one night of using this method. Now it's your turn to join these incredible folks by unlocking your own ancestral wealth code starting tonight. And once you do, you'll be amazed at how quickly money starts flowing into your life from unexpected sources. You'll feel the weight of financial stress lift from your shoulders. You'll no longer struggle to pay bills or feel that knot in your stomach when unexpected expenses arise. And you will finally experience the true wealth and abundance that has been your birthright all along. Soon, friends and family will be begging for your secret. You'll be able to make decisions based on what you want, not what you can afford. And you'll no longer feel held back from enjoying the lifestyle your ancestors always intended for you to have. So let's get started right now. My name is Dr. Jonathan Sterling, and I never thought I'd be sharing this message with you today. Because while my colleagues called me the Indiana Jones of the Bible, after digging up half the Middle East, I was ready to throw in the towel if it wasn't for this strange stone tablet sitting on my desk right now. I'll show it to you in just a minute. See, my wife was jealous. Her rich brother was a music producer who went on fancy vacations with his family while we struggled just to make rent. "Why don't we ever do anything nice?" she'd nag me. "You can't even bring your own daughter to Disney World for her birthday." And truth is, my job didn't pay well. Most of it was tracing Bible bloodlines back to figures like King Solomon, Abraham, and David. You know those long ancestor lists in the Old Testament that we often skip over? Abraham begat Isaac, Isaac begat Jacob, and so on. Well, that's my expertise. Not the most exciting stuff, right? I was barely scraping by on research grants, and the irony wasn't lost on me. Here I was, studying how King Solomon built the richest empire in history, while my wife yelled at me to become a real man. And my daughter cried because I couldn't take her to Disney World. And I racked my brain just trying to figure out if we could afford cereal and milk this week. I was living proof that knowledge doesn't create wealth, and that being smart has nothing to do with how much money you make. On top of it all, the treatments I needed for my rare genetic condition were drowning us in debt. To be honest, it felt like the universe was just determined to keep me broke. Talk about feeling like a fraud. So when I found out my research grant and salary were being slashed by 40%, I started packing up my office, but fate had other plans. And little did I know that this mysterious ancient tablet from Jerusalem's Western Wall was about to expose an international conspiracy about wealth hidden in your own family tree that would shake the foundation of human history. Strangely enough, it all began with a DNA test my daughter saved up for so I could find out more about my condition. On that day, I took a break from packing up my office and went out for some air. I found a bench at Jefferson Park and watched students laugh and play frisbee, their lives still full of hope and possibility. Everything mine used to have. I was unwrapping a sad cucumber sandwich I'd packed for lunch when a man in a dark suit sat down beside me. "Keep looking straight ahead, Dr. Sterling," he said. And whatever you do, don't turn around. My heart nearly stopped. How did he know my name? The results from your DNA test were interesting. I gripped my lunch bag so tight, my knuckles went white. How could he possibly know about that? The DNA kit was sitting on my office desk. I hadn't shown the results to anyone. They were supposed to be private, for God's sake. Hey man, I started saying. I think you have the wrong... He smiled thinly. The ancestry company you used had a security breach. I froze. Yes, that breach was all over the news. You probably remember it too. The company 23andMe had to file for bankruptcy when the scandal broke. Certain genetic profiles were flagged. Yours was one of them. A chill ran down my spine. Who are you? I whispered. I used to work for the Vatican, he replied, placing his hand on an old Bible beside him. But what really matters is who you are. He opened a folder and started searching through DNA reports. My jaw dropped when he pulled up my profile. Your results seem pretty standard at first glance, he said. 43% Eastern European, 31% Mediterranean, 24% Western European. Now, look at this section here, Dr. Sterling. What do you see? He pointed to a tiny sliver in the results chart, labeled simply as unknown. That's normal, I shrugged. Everyone has some unidentified DNA, usually between 1 to 4%. They just label it as unknown, or give you a general label like broadly European or something. It's just genetic background noise. Yes, Dr. Sterling, that's exactly what they want you to think. Then he showed me dozens of DNA tests, but these weren't just any results, because the names belonged to some of the wealthiest families in history. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Saudi royal family. I even saw the names Musk and Trump flash by. And when he pointed to their unknown DNA sections, every single one of them had the exact same pattern, not just similar, identical. This is impossible, I gasped. After all, DNA is like a fingerprint. No two people should have the exact same pattern, unless... Now look at this, he said. These results are from everyday people like you who took an ancestry test. Honest, hardworking folks who struggle paycheck to paycheck. People who never seem to get wealthy no matter how hard they try. See how your unknown DNA section is different? Well, I couldn't believe this guy's nerve. I was about to get up and leave when I remembered my daughter's birthday coming up and how I'd have to look into her big brown eyes and tell her we couldn't afford Disney World. Not this year, not ever. So I sat down and listened. Dr. Sterling, have you ever wondered why some families seem to stay wealthy generation after generation, while others work themselves to death and never get ahead? Or why some people can lose everything and bounce right back, while others stay stuck no matter what they try? It turns out it has nothing to do with how smart you are, how hard you work, or even who you know. He looked around to make sure no one was listening. Because hidden in your DNA is an ancient genetic sequence that matches the wealthiest families in history, all the way back to King Solomon and the earliest biblical records. The Vatican has been studying these wealth bloodlines for centuries. That's ridiculous, I said. Is it? He pulled up a news article. They just awarded the Nobel Prize to scientists studying what they call ancient DNA. In fact, you might have seen ancient DNA in the news recently when they used a wolf's ancestors to bring it back from extinction. There's even a whole new field devoted to it called paleogenomics. And do you know what they discovered? That modern humans share genetic sequences that have remained unchanged for thousands of years. And it's now widely known that up to 99% of all people alive today can trace their DNA back to migrations through biblical lands, which means virtually everyone carries these same genetic markers. You see, Dr. Sterling, we are far more connected than you realize. And that's why famous actors like Michael Douglas and Scarlett Johansson discovered that they share identical DNA segments. Or Benedict Cumberbatch learned he shares ancestry with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle and even King Richard III. And even our most holy pope, may he rest in peace, can trace his ancestry back to one common ancestor shared by 95% of all Catholic bishops. They call this the Riva lineage. I almost laughed. Are you trying to say they share some kind of wealth gene? Not exactly, he replied. This is something even more powerful because the latest mathematical models from Yale and MIT point to one person, doctor. One common human ancestor, someone who lived between 3,000 and 3,500 years ago. Someone from whom all humans alive on Earth today descend. My jaw dropped because as a biblical historian, I knew exactly what this meant. That was the generation of King Solomon's rise to power, when his bloodline would soon give birth to the wisest and wealthiest king the world had ever seen. A king who blessed us with the wisdom of his Proverbs, where he said, "A good man leaves an inheritance to his children's children." Proverbs 13:22. Yet, something still wasn't making sense. Because if we all share this ancient wealth gene passed down from our ancestors under King Solomon, then why aren't we all just fabulously wealthy? Why is it just a few people who hold most of the money in the world? And what on earth did any of this have to do with me? The man pointed to my office window across campus. "That stone tablet on your desk," he said quietly. "Do you have any idea what you found?" "Yes, we've been watching you for a long time, Dr. Sterling. And the Vatican has been searching searching for that tablet for centuries. Why do you think they pulled your funding right after you discovered it? I gasped as the pieces started falling into place. The urgent calls from Rome, the sudden budget cuts, the pressure to abandon the dig site. Because what you found are the 7 seals of Solomon. They are the reason why some bloodlines have become fantastically wealthy, while most stay trapped in poverty generation after generation, never knowing why they cannot get rich no matter what they do. Even though, us and them, we all share the same wealthy ancestors. And when these 7 seals are broken, you can and you will discover the astounding richness of your ancestors. And the time will come for the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. That time is now, Dr. Sterling. You see, King Solomon was very wise. In fact, you probably know the Old Testament story about 2 women claiming to be the mother of a child. In the Book of Kings 3:16, Solomon settles the dispute by ordering the baby cut in half with a sword, which then allows the wise king to identify the real mother. They call this the Judgment of Solomon. But that's just what they teach in Sunday school, because most people have no idea this family feud shaped the wealth destiny of the entire world. You see, wise King Solomon recognized it as a battle of good versus evil, and blessed the bloodline of the real mother so they would prosper eternally. He knew the other lineage would destroy itself with greed and vengeance, so he placed the curse of his 7 seals to protect it from extinction, a sacred judgment that allowed one bloodline to become extremely wealthy, while the other is blocked from true wealth by a force beyond their control. This prophecy remained in place for 3,000 years, so evident in the blessed billionaire bloodline and the curse of struggle and poverty in the world, until the day this tablet was found, when we are finally ready to unite our common wealth ancestry and claim your share of the Lord's abundance. And that's why it doesn't matter what manifestation methods you try, because these only work on the mind. When real wealth is actually encoded in the DNA of your ancestors, waiting to be activated once again, and looking at where you are now in life. Do you really think you are part of the billionaire bloodline? Or is your bloodline cursed to never get rich? Just think, why else would King Solomon be so obsessed with recording family trees in the Bible? He was leaving a trail, a genetic breadcrumb path, all leading to this. The man held up his Bible and pulled out a tattered yellow page. Because the stone tablet you found is the missing piece for King Solomon's Wealth Ancestry Prayer, a ritual so powerful it reverses the flow of wealth back to its original state, so that every single person in the world can identify their wealthy ancestors and activate the genetic code of wealth that is your birthright. You found an activation system to unblock these seals in your DNA, and in the DNA of everyone else in the world who's tired of just watching the rich get richer. Now you see how each one of Solomon's 7 seals is a different energy lock that keeps people trapped financially. You will recognize them instantly. The first one is the seal of unworthiness. My breath caught in my throat, because that was the exact feeling I got every time my wife complained about money, every time my daughter cried, every time I stared at my pathetic bank balance, wondering why I couldn't provide like a real man. This seal convinces you that you're not chosen, he continued, that wealth isn't meant for you. But that's just psychology, I stammered. Mindset stuff, he shook his head. This goes far deeper, doctor. Think about it. How many times have you tried positive thinking, or visualization, or any type of manifestation at all? And how many times did those methods fail you? That's because each and every one of them is focused on the mind. While the real blocks to wealth are encoded in your DNA, they're in your blood. And with that, he stood up and took off towards my office. The second seal of Solomon is the seal of scarcity. That's what makes you feel like there's never enough, like you have to hoard every penny, or find yourself saying things like, I can't afford this, before you even check the price. We stepped into my office, and the man's eyes opened in awe. He touched the markings on the stone tablet. These other seals in order are the seals of guilt, shame, silence, doubt, and the forgotten name, the 7 seals of Solomon. So deeply ingrained in your DNA that they just feel like bad habits, and you don't even recognize how they're blocking the ancient DNA of your wealthy ancestors. I'll show you why that's important in just a moment, because what was important to me right then was figuring out how to use this Wealth Ancestry Prayer to break the 7 seals. Now, at this point, you may well be wondering, like I did, what does any of this DNA stuff have to do with prayer? And it turns out that modern science is finally catching up to what King Solomon knew thousands of years ago. In fact, scientists call it epigenetic inheritance, the discovery that things like trauma can be passed down in the DNA through generations, which is why children of Holocaust survivors carried the same stress markers in their genes as their parents, even though they never experienced the trauma themselves. And this generational toxicity is exactly how the 7 seals of Solomon transmitted their poverty programming to this day, which makes sense when you think about it. Because how else do you explain the growing gap between the ultra-rich and the rest of us? And even if you get a lucky break, it never lasts. Which is why 90% of lottery winners go broke within a couple of years. So it should be clear by now that there is nothing unknown about this section of DNA at all. And it's no wonder that some families seem to have a golden touch when it comes to money, or why they're so obsessed with keeping wealth in the family. You may even have heard about recent scientific attempts to edit these genes, like the Chinese scientist who was thrown in jail for creating mutant twin designer babies by altering gene memories. And yet nothing in the world has ever proven as powerful as prayer. Even modern science is astounded by how our genetic code responds to the sound frequencies of devotion. The man opened his Bible to King Solomon's prayer. "And with this Vatican secret, you will change the course of history," he said. My eyes teared up as I thought about my daughter crying, about my wife's disappointed eyes, and that 40% pay cut that was coming. So I resolved there, and then to open my mind to what this ex-Vatican man was telling me. The answer has been hidden in plain sight all this time, in the Song of Solomon and in the Proverbs. This Wealth Ancestry Prayer for those with eyes to see and ears to hear. And while my academic mind resisted the mystical truth, there was no denying the evidence in ancient cultures around the world and their sacred chants, from Gregorian monks to strange Mongolian throat singing, because they all knew how sound can alter reality itself and turn genes on or off like a light switch. Real proof of how the science of epigenetics works. He placed his hands on the tablet and read aloud from Proverbs 10:22. "The blessing of the Lord brings wealth without painful toil for it." And I closed my eyes with him to pray to my ancestors. When I opened my eyes and looked around, well, nothing happened. No magical wealth activation, no sudden revelations, not even a tingle. And over the next few days, things actually got worse. I caught the flu, stubbed my toe on the stairs, and my car's transmission died on the highway. All in just 1 week. It seemed the universe had a twisted sense of humor. I started thinking maybe that strange man was just messing with me, and even caught myself studying that unknown section of my DNA report, looking for any sign that I was somehow special. And then, just as I was about to give it all up, I had a sudden insight. Priests and mystics in ancient times weren't just reciting these prayers, they were chanting them. And the chamber where we found the tablet had very specific dimensions. 7 feet wide, 7 feet long, 7 feet high, just like the 7 colors in the rainbow. 7 days in a week, 7 notes in the musical scale, and the 7 circles in the seat of life, found all over the world. And that's when it clicked. These same proportions showed up in Solomon's temple, in the Great Pyramid and Greek theaters, even in the divine design of almost every structure on God's green earth. This couldn't be random, because they were divine dimensions to activate the frequency when the prayer was chanted. I rushed to the phone to call my brother-in-law. He had a fancy recording studio in his basement where many of his artists recorded hit songs. I explained what I needed, an audio track created at very specific frequencies, based on my measurements from the temple dig. "That's weird," he said, "but sure, I can do that." A week later, he sent me the file. We then recorded the Wealth Ancestry Prayer over it, making sure it played at the same time as the sacred frequency, which made all the sense in the world when I thought about it. I was thrilled to start listening to the new audio track each day, yet on day 1, nothing. On day 2, still nothing. There were no money breakthroughs happening in my life. In fact, on day 3, my car broke down again, until one evening I fell asleep listening to the track, and I woke up the next day feeling more alive than in years. At work, my department head called me into his office. "Dr. Sterling, remember that grant they cut? It's been reinstated. Actually, it's been doubled." Later that day, I got a letter from a lawyer. Apparently, I had a great uncle I never knew about who left me a small inheritance, $25,000. Just like that, my car troubles disappeared, and I could take my daughter to Disney World after all. Then, an email came in. The History Channel wanted to hire me as a consultant for a 6-figure deal. Then, something truly miraculous happened. During my next checkup, my doctor stared at my blood work in disbelief. "The genetic markers for your condition, they're different. It's like they've been switched off somehow. I've never seen anything like it." I was shaking with joy at everything that happened within just a few days of when I started listening to the audio track at night. It seemed that I'd removed the 7 seals of Solomon and reactivated my ancestral wealth genes, which was both incredibly exciting and humbling at the same time, because I knew what a monumental time this was in history, and how I'd been chosen by God to bring this to the world. And not just me, but anyone who unlocked their ancient riches by listening to the Wealth Ancestry Prayer. For you, too, are the chosen one. So I started sharing the prayer audio with others. First, a colleague who was facing bankruptcy. He suddenly got 3 job offers in just 1 week. Then my neighbor fighting foreclosure was contacted by her long-lost aunt, who decided to pay off her mortgage. Even my wife noticed the change in my confidence and fell in love with me all over again. Most importantly, my daughter, who didn't just get her Disney World trip, she got her daddy back, all by activating something that has been inside us all along. Something something waiting in our DNA since the time of wise King Solomon himself, just waiting for the right frequency, the right prayer at the right time to awaken to true wealth. So right now, I'm thrilled to introduce you to the Wealth Ancestry Prayer. It's the first and only audio track in existence that's designed to activate dormant wealth genes in your ancestral DNA, and it's 100% effortless. You just play this sacred audio track as you fall asleep, and that's it. There's truly nothing else like this on Earth today. Because while others are grinding themselves to dust, working multiple jobs just to stay broke, you just drift off to sleep while these advanced frequencies unlock your ancestral wealth coding, creating a seamless connection to the prosperity genes that made your bloodline wealthy generations ago, just like in the world's richest families. And all thanks to groundbreaking sound wave technology, scientifically proven to trigger gene expression. It starts working from the very first night, and you don't need to do any manifestation exercises or create vision boards or recite daily affirmations. Just think of all the ways people desperately try to get wealthy today. Working extra shifts, taking out massive loans for school, gambling on crypto or at the casino, or even trying to use the law of attraction. I tried them all, and now I understand why none of it ever works until your ancestral wealth DNA is activated first. So I don't want you to suffer like I did, because now I understand that was never your destiny. Your ancestors didn't build generational wealth just for their genes to lay dormant in your DNA. This wealth coding is your birthright, your true inheritance, and it's time to claim it. Which is why I'm inviting you to join the thousands of men and women now manifesting real abundance in their lives with the Wealth Ancestry Prayer. You'll spot opportunities others miss completely. Money will start flowing to you from unexpected sources, and you'll even notice how your whole energy shifts as your ancestral coding awakens. Because when this happens, abundance becomes automatic. Just look at me now, writing to you from my ancestral castle in Scotland, where I took my family to reconnect with our roots after getting our dream home. I know what it's like to struggle with money, drowning in bills and debt while watching rich families prosper, when no matter what you try, something always drains your account. An unexpected expense, a medical bill, even inflation eating away at your savings. Let's face it, it's hard to build wealth these days. And it's not your fault. They've deliberately suppressed this ancestral knowledge. But now you know about these wealth genes that have been inside your DNA all along. And since its release, the Wealth Ancestry Prayer has transformed the lives of thousands of people worldwide. In fact, the letters they send me prove I am doing God's work to open the floodgates of abundance for us all. Like for Sarah, a nurse in Boston who told me I'd always been cursed with money problems. That's what it felt like, a curse. But after listening to the Wealth Ancestry Prayer, I won $2,400 on a scratch ticket. Then, I got a surprise inheritance of $43,000 from a great aunt I barely knew. My husband thought I was doing something illegal, and now we're buying our dream home. He started using the audio too. And Lisa's story gives me chills. She's a teacher in Phoenix who wrote, "My family used to joke we were all wearing poverty genes. No matter what we did, we stayed broke. Now it's only been a few weeks and I got promoted with a $31,000 raise. My side business exploded to $8,000 a month. And I even manifested a free luxury cruise. Even my kids are top of their grade now. It's like our whole bloodline's energy shifted." And then there's Michael in Texas who says, "My great-grandfather built a successful banking empire before losing it all in the Great Depression. I always felt that wealth was in my blood somehow. After using this audio for a month, I suddenly got 3 massive business opportunities that netted me $127,000 in profit. Now I know it was my ancestral DNA awakening." And I love Rebecca's story from Portland. "I was a struggling yoga teacher when a friend showed me the Wealth Ancestry Prayer. I tried every manifestation technique out there, but nothing clicked. Within weeks of activating my ancestral wealth coding, I was guided to open my own wellness center. Now I run a 7-figure business empire. The money just flows when you're aligned with your ancestors." Now isn't that amazing? Right now, you're probably ready to experience this yourself, though you might be wondering, how exactly do I use the Wealth Ancestry Prayer? And I love this question because it's actually so simple. Here's what you do. Right as you're going to bed, you take this audio track and press play on your phone or computer. Let it play in the background as you doze off to sleep. And that's it. Just let the sacred sound waves and your ancestral DNA do the work. Soon enough, you'll notice money, wealth, and abundance flowing into your life, just like it did for me, and for the thousands who discovered the Wealth Ancestry Prayer. There is one thing I have to tell you about, though. I don't know how much longer this webpage will stay up. I'm telling you because this is the only place where you can get Wealth Ancestry Prayer. The Vatican lawyers, along with the wealthy bloodlines who've been hoarding this secret for generations, are not happy about this information going public. They've kept the world's wealth concentrated in their hands for thousands of years. I know this sounds extreme, but they've already tried shutting down this website multiple times, and unfortunately, they've succeeded before. Now they're throwing everything they have at us. And next time, I don't know if we'll be able to get back online. So if you're even slightly interested in the Wealth Ancestry Prayer, and who wouldn't be. I urge you not to leave this page until you've secured your copy. And let me get something straight right now. This isn't about money for me. I've already activated my own wealth genes. I could easily disappear to some private island and live out my days in luxury, but I believe everyone deserves to access their ancestral wealth coding. Look, I remember struggling just to make ends meet, never understanding why some people had it so easy, but now we know the truth. And there's no reason anyone should struggle once they understand how to activate their dormant wealth genes, which is why I'm not going to ask you to dig into any savings. After all, you know I could charge a fortune for this discovery. In fact, several advisors told me I should price this at $10,000 or more. But I'm not in this for the money. My mission is to get this out to as many people as possible before the elite bloodlines finally shut us down for good. And charging a premium would make it out of reach for people who need it most. So I won't ask you to invest anywhere near $10,000 today. Heck, not even a fraction of that. In fact, all I ask is that you help me cover the cost of creating these audio tracks and maintaining this website, which means I'm only asking you to contribute $39 today. I know that probably seems impossible to believe, that you could access this life-changing wealth activation system for less than dinner for two. But remember my mission here, to help as many people as possible activate their ancestral wealth coding. So yes, this is 100% real. The only thing I ask is that you consider sending us a success story once you start manifesting real abundance in your life. And all you need to do is click the button that's below this video. Once you press that Add to Cart button, you'll be taken to our 100% safe and secure checkout page where you'll enter your order details. We use the very latest SSL encryption to ensure your order is fully protected, just like when you order from Amazon. And as soon as you hit submit, your digital audio track will be emailed to you immediately, which means you save another $9 since there's no shipping fees. And you don't have to wait for a delivery package either. But that's not all you'll receive when you order, because I've decided to include several bonus gifts that you get for free when you take action today. Your first free gift, Money Mantras Special Collection. This is my private collection directly from one-on-one research with hundreds of millionaires. Inside, you'll discover the exact 9-word wealth activation phrase a billionaire whispered to me that changed my life forever. Plus, the 3 morning mantras used by the world's top 1% to automatically attract money opportunities throughout their day. These money mantras work like cheat codes for manifestation. Like one client who said, these are like DNA-level commands that reprogram your whole relationship with money. Your second free gift, the Golden Hour Protocol. Want to boost wealth activation during your waking hours, while the Wealth Ancestry Prayer works its magic at night. This advanced daytime system reveals the precise golden hours when your brain is most receptive to wealth programming, like the 7-minute window right after sunrise that billionaires consider their money power hour. You'll see how to stack these prosperity triggers throughout your day to create what one recent client an unstoppable avalanche of abundance. My favorite is the 2-minute reset ritual you can use anytime your energy drops. Sarah from Miami used it to manifest a surprise $23,000 client after a terrible morning meeting. Your third free gift, 17 ancestral amplifiers of wealth. After studying centuries of family wealth patterns, I've identified 17 specific triggers that instantly amplify your genetic wealth activation. These simple daily actions work like prosperity switches, turning on dormant money attraction genes that have been sleeping in your DNA for generations. Implementing just one of these amplifiers doubled a client's unexpected income within 72 hours. And one extra free gift, 24-hour rapid cash machine. When bills are due and you need money fast, this specialized DNA activation sequence creates an immediate shift in your ancestral prosperity coding. Users report attracting small sums of much-needed cash within 24 to 48 hours. Like Melissa from Chicago, who says, my car needed $2,300 in repairs I couldn't afford. I played the rapid prosperity sequence for 2 nights, and my tax refund randomly showed up, $3,100. I checked and it wasn't even refund season. The timing was beyond incredible. These are the kind of stories that inspire all of us, and I can't wait to include your story too. And that's over $447 in bonuses that are yours free when you get Wealth Ancestry Prayer today. They're not available anywhere else, and you get them automatically when you click Add to Cart below. Oh, and one more crucial thing. When you place your order through this website, you're protected by our 90-day, 100% money-back guarantee. It's an all-inclusive ironclad guarantee based on your complete satisfaction with your experience, which means that after clicking below to order, just download the track and listen to it every night for the next 30 days. I have absolutely no doubt you'll start seeing money and abundance flow into your life, because the scientific evidence is just overwhelming. But if for any reason at all, you are not 100% satisfied with all the wonderful powerful changes in your life after listening to the Wealth Ancestry Prayer? Just email or call me on the phone and I'll refund you every single penny on the spot. No questions asked. So if you're feeling ready to join the thousands already tapping into the real wealth of their ancestors, I urge you to download your copy of the Wealth Ancestry Prayer. Simply try it out risk-free for 90 days and you'll see. I want you to feel 100% confident that it will work for you too, which means you don't even have to decide right now. You can say maybe, and you'll have a full 90 days to test it out for yourself. Just click the button below to secure your order. Now, what's really interesting is how the money manifests differently for every person, since we all have unique ancestral DNA. I can't tell you exactly how it will appear for you, but you'll know it when you see it. I just can't wait for you to experience what this wealth awakening is like, and I did my best to make it an easy decision for you today. I've taken on all the risk with my guarantee, so I can help as many people as possible while this page is still up, which might not be for much longer. So click the button below and place your order because you're backed by our 90-day 100% ironclad money-back guarantee. All you need is 2 ears and headphones. So really, it's a simple choice. After all, what do you have to lose? It's like you're standing at a crossroads right now, and you can either ignore everything you've learned today and continue struggling, working harder and harder without seeing results, while barely scraping by and never escaping that financial hamster wheel. And if that's the path you choose, God bless you. But you now know there's another way. And I think you and I both know you found this page for a reason today. So really, it makes sense to choose the path filled with ancestral wealth and abundance, because we both know you'll keep getting the same results until you try something different. And I think being here today is a clear sign that you're ready for change. That change is Wealth Ancestry Prayer. Just click the button below and try it yourself. 100% risk-free for the next 90 days. You're still here, I see. That's great because we covered a lot today and I just got some great questions from viewers at home. The first one is from Joey in Atlanta, who asks, what makes the Wealth Ancestry Prayer different from other manifestation techniques? Thanks, Joey. That's a great question. So here's the thing. Regular manifestation focuses on your current energy, but the Wealth Ancestry Prayer taps into generations of stored prosperity coding in your DNA. Think about it. Your ancestors spent centuries building and protecting family wealth, which has been sealed and kept from you. But those prosperity patterns are still alive in your genetic code. They're just dormant. This prayer uses sacred sound frequencies specifically designed to reactivate those sleeping money genes. Our next question is from Jessica in Miami, who asks, can you walk me through exactly how to use the Wealth Ancestry Prayer? Great question, Jessica. It shows you're ready to take action. And what I love most about the prayer is how simple it is. Here's all you need to do. Find a quiet space, ideally at night. Put on any old headphones. Press play. Close your eyes and listen. That's it. It doesn't even matter how long you listen for. There are no complicated rituals, meditation sessions, or weird journaling stuff. Just listen and reawaken your ancestral wealth coding, because these sacred frequencies open your DNA receptors, trigger dormant prosperity genes, and reactivate your ancestral wealth coding. And that's when a genetic wealth attraction loop starts forming. Now, Jenny from Oklahoma asks, how quickly can I expect results? And what should I look for? This is probably our most common question, Jenny, because something this exciting makes you want to know what to expect. Of course, everyone's ancestral coding is different. Some people carry stronger prosperity genes than others. But here's what most users report. First 3 days, enhanced financial intuition kicks in. You'll start noticing money opportunities you used to miss. First week, lucky coincidences begin. Unexpected checks, refunds, or opportunities often show up. First month, this is when the bigger manifestations typically occur. New job offers, business opportunities, or substantial windfalls. We've had users report random calls about lost inheritances and that kind of thing. It's really amazing to see. Oh, and here's an interesting question from Elaine in Georgia, who asks, will this prayer make me rich like the Rothschilds? And I love your ambition, Elaine. Look, the Rothschilds have some of the strongest wealth genes ever recorded. That's why they've maintained their fortune for over 200 years. While the Wealth Ancestry Prayer can activate your family's prosperity coding, your results will depend on your specific genetic potential. But here's the exciting part. Even if you only unlock a fraction of that kind of ancestral wealth, it could still transform your reality forever. I mean, just imagine what you'd do with that kind of money. Okay, then we have Jenny from Florida asking, the price seems incredibly low for something this powerful. Why aren't you charging more? You're not alone in asking this, Jenny. Truthfully, we could easily charge over $1,000 for this system. These are the same sacred frequencies used for generations to protect the fortunes of the wealthiest families. The genetics research alone cost hundreds of thousands to develop. But we're not doing that because your ancestors want you to reactivate this coding. They spent centuries building this wealth potential into your DNA. They didn't do that just for their wealth genes to stay dormant in a small percentage of people who can afford premium prices. Plus, you're protected by our 100% money-back guarantee. Take a full 90 days to activate your ancestral wealth coding. If you don't see your prosperity genes awakening, just let us know and we'll refund every penny. That's why this is completely risk-free for you. Simply click the button below to activate your ancestral wealth genes today. Remember, your ancestors fought hard to build this prosperity coding into your DNA. Don't let their hard work and sacrifice go to waste. Click below to start your genetic wealth activation now. It's the will and destiny of your ancestors from the time of wise King Solomon. Thank you for watching and God bless.